Hello out there in internet land. This is episode 32 of Stop the Damn Match, your mum's 316th favourite wrestling podcast. I'm your host, Phil Lamington. Seated to my left is the returning JB. He hasn't been on one of these for a while. How are you going, JB?
Yeah, I'm back over this side of the fence.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah, it's good. It's good to be back gazing into the squared circle with you, mate.
Yeah. And seated to my right and a little bit behind is young master Dr. Shaymus, the professor. How are you going, good friend?
Yeah, not too bad at all. Tad tired, but that's what you get, I suppose.
Yeah. This pay-per-view went for a little bit longer than I thought, than I planned for. But still, it was a good premium live event. It was WWE Survivor Series 2024 from Canada. So we're gonna get straight into it here. The first match was the Women's War Games match, where it was Team Rhea. You can guess who was on that team, which was Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and Bayley. Bayley replacing the other half of the Women's Tag Team Champions, Jade Cargill, against Miss Money in the Bank, Tiffany Stratton, the Women's World Champion, Liv Morgan, and her Diesel equivalent, Raquel Rodriguez, Candice LeRae, and WWE Women's Champion, Nia Jax. So... The match started with Bayley and Nia Jax. Naomi eventually entered, then Candice LeRae, then Bianca Belair, then Tiffy, then Io Sky, Raquel, Rhea Ripley, and finally Liv Morgan, who entered with a baseball bat. And after a vigorous match, we use that word, Rhea Ripley hit the riptide on Liv Morgan from the top rope through a table, gets a pinfall, gets the win for Team Rhea Ripley. JB, what were your thoughts on the match?
There was some good, and there was some bad. I think before the match started officially, there was more bad than good. Especially, Nia Jax was doing some noticeably soft as fuck chair shots. As were all of them, actually, until Raquel Rodriguez showed them what a chair shot was. Gave them the old, Attitude Era swing instead of the PG Era swing. Or the Hulk Hogan chair shots.
Oh, yeah.
That was alright. I mean, Sky going to the top of the trash can again. Good spot. Fun spot. Raquel Rodriguez looked pretty strong. Rhea Ripley looked strong. Lots of people going through tables. Yeah, good solid match, I think. I'll split it down the middle. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. I think there was some sloppiness, but there was some solidness too.
Yeah. Shay?
This match started really slow. Slow and quite poor, in my opinion. The chair shots right at the start were non-existent, and it was only until everyone was actually in the ring where... mystically, the chair shots actually seemed to start connecting to people, and the kendo sticks and all of the other weapons that were in the ring. I mean, Io doing her spot with the trash cans, always beautiful to watch, and then you had Tiffy on the other side doing a swanton, which is also pretty cool to see. Pretty much these matches are big spot fests, they always are, but it's always good to watch. Entertaining. This one just started a bit slow, and was definitely the worst of the two, in my opinion. This one gets probably a 2.5.
Well, look, I thought it was a solid match. There was some solid shots once Io, Raquel, and Rhea Ripley actually got in the match. Then, like you said, the chair shots started to connect. But until then, though, it was just... little dinks that if they had done that in the ECW arena would have gotten them booed out of the building.
I mean, it had Nia Jax in it, so...
But there was some real shit spots in this too. Like Nia Jax doing a leg drop is just the sloppiest thing I've ever seen. Bianca Belair is just getting more soft with everything. Naomi hit a double rear view that looked the worst thing I've seen ever.
That double rear view looked like they double slammed her, but then they fell over.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that was meant to be her momentum, not theirs.
And like Candice LeRae didn't do much. Nia Jax was abysmal.
She was abysmal. Someone who should have monstered this match. She was running around just half-assing everything. Even Bianca Belair, she's stale as at the moment.
Yeah.
She's as stale as a puddle of water.
Yep.
I honestly think, and this is something that the War Games matches itself it's a great novelty and everything, and I get it. But I'm kind of starting to miss the traditional Survivor Series matches.
Where it's elimination.
And this, I think, would have been better as a traditional Survivor Series match.
I think they need to do this, War Games, but as an elimination match. They need to do it in reverse. It needs to be 5 from the start and just elimination. If you're pin or tapped, you're eliminated.
I'm going to say something a little bit controversial here. As much as the other match later on tonight is great, I think War Games needs to go back to NXT.
Yeah, they can't.
And this needs to be a traditional Survivor Series match.
Yeah, they just, I don't know. It's great. It's sort of lost its luster, especially the women's.
You know?
I mean, not being sexist, but especially the women's.
Yeah. Like, this should have just been a traditional Survivor Series match.
Jade Cargill was supposed to be in this match.
Yeah.
And she was scrapped, basically.
Yeah, they wrote her out with an injury.
This would have been, I know she's green, but this would have been her match.
I think
All she's got to do in there is do what Nia Jax didn't do and be a fucking monster about it. Just do power moves. Just be a female Goldberg for 10 minutes and fucking take some kendo stick shots and some chair shots and power slam some fuckers into the cage. You would have, probably would have made her a star. It probably would have been right up her alley. So the fact that she was written out of the match is just a little bit bewildering.
I do like the fact that a good old Dave Meltzer ran around saying, oh, Jade Cargill's legitimately injured. And everyone's bought into it. And then someone's come out and said, no, she's not injured. She just got written out of the match.
Which is weird, because it would have been the best match for her.
Yeah, I think they're using it to set up her and Bianca Belair breaking up, though.
Fair enough.
Which is a shame, because there's very few women's tag teams in this tag team division.
That's fine. Maybe she can go win one of the even more women's belts.
I think it's actually a perfect time, if they want to have more women's tag teams, do something like the Mae Young Classic, but for women's tag teams.
I'm sure she'll win the Intercontinental or US women's title.
Yeah, true.
Just be a mid-card belt holder in the women's division.
But that said, I did give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
It was still entertaining to a degree.
It was entertaining, but it wasn't anything you're going to watch twice.
For some of the talent, I think, like, specifically Nia Jax and Bianca Belair, they've hit their ceiling.
They got to step up. It was really soft from both of them.
You know?
In a match that they should have just been powerhouses in. They should have been monsters. And they weren't.
Well, to be honest, and Shay, I'm going to throw this one to you, but to get your opinion as well. This would have been more interesting if it was 3 teams as War Games, with the third team being a team from like a combined TNA NXT team.
Yeah, doing brand versus brand versus brand.
Because you've got that Supreme team, because they had a 10-woman tag match on NXT a few weeks ago, where it was Zarya, Julia, Stephanie Vicure, God, there was 2 other people in it. And then they went against Roxanne Perez, and like a whole bunch of other, like all the heel women. Because right before the match, Rhea Ripley showed up and said hi to all the baby faces, including Zarya, and they didn't interact that much, which surprised me. And then that's when they did the injury angle of Rhea Ripley getting put through a car or something. If they had pulled the trigger... Oh, that's right, Jordan Grace was on the team as well. She was the 5th member of the babyface team. If they had pulled the trigger on that and said, no, we're going to do 3 teams, and the 3rd team is this TNA NXT hybrid team, then you would have had something to really pop.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It would have been significantly better if they did that.
Because that was the other thing lacking from this match, was just a significant pop. I mean, there was a pop for Rhea Ripley, obviously, but that was it. And Io Sky got a pop.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. Did not reach any great heights.
So, yeah, that's my thoughts, though. I know someone out there will probably disagree with me and say, oh, it was the correct match on the card. All right, we're going to move on to the next match, which was for the United States Championship. It was between champion LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura. And after a bit of back and forth, a bit of Jolly Roger, Shinsuke hit the Kinshasa from behind, got the pinfall, got the win, and is the new United States Champion. So we'll go with Shay. What are your thoughts on that match?
I wasn't expecting Shinsuke to actually win this one. I do like his new image, though. It's pretty cool, a lot darker. It was a lot more physical than I expected it to be. LA got not much offense in this one. It was nearly a squash match, to be honest. It was all Shinsuke, pretty much all match. It's a shame to see LA Knight lose, because he's still really fucking over with everybody. One of the most over in the company right now, actually. But I definitely see why they gave it to Shinsuke. I mean, you don't want him to debut and then instantly lose. That's a good way to squash a new character.
But like what Vince did with Bray Wyatt.
Exactly.
500 times.
Exactly, and Uncle Howdy as well.
And Shinsuke.
And Shinsuke when he first came, absolutely.
Shinsuke and Asuka both lose at their first WrestleManias.
Yes.
Yeah, and they both won the Rumble in the same year, and I'm pretty sure both of them lost.
Yeah, sure did.
But yeah, it was a pretty interesting match, but heavily one-sided, but pretty interesting nonetheless. I'll give it a 3.
JB?
Yeah, I like the more brutal side to Shinsuke. I think he makes it work well. He's always seemed to be a better heel than a face. And he's got that Japanese strong style to go with it. But yeah, I was actually surprised that LA Knight dropped the belt. Thought he had a lot of momentum going for him, but that's a way to build up a feud, I guess, and keep Shinsuke a heel for a little while, is to hold it over LA Knight for a little bit, so see where it goes from here. I thought it was a pretty decent match. I give it 3.5 out of 5.
Well, I gave it a 3 out of 5. I thought it was a solid match. Pretty snug moveset. Again, the ending was a bit of a shock. Particularly seeing LA Knight only won the US title at SummerSlam. So it seems like a relatively short title reign. But, I mean, it's a way of pushing Shinsuke as a credible threat by putting that US title on him. I was surprised they didn't put the US belt on Solo Sikoa at one point, to be honest. But, well, sometimes some storylines don't need a title belt. Maybe they're taking the belt off LA Knight because they're going to swap LA Knight over to Raw when it goes to Netflix. So he might actually be in the hunt for either the World Heavyweight title or the Intercontinental title.
It seems weird to take his momentum away like that without lining him up for something else.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, just going into a feud with Shinsuke seems a little bit not really what anyone wanted.
A part of it too is also, I think that because I think Shinsuke's contract is up next year, and there's been a lot of rumors that he wasn't particularly happy with his spot in WWE, and
Didn't he hold the IC belt or something for like ages and never defended it?
pretty much.
Yeah, like he was just sitting there with the title,
But
not defending it. I mean, I wouldn't be happy with that spot either, but
he hadn't wrestled on WWE TV since April.
yeah. So
Seems
whose fault is that? Is it WWE's or is it his?
Well, I think it's a bit of column A, a bit of column B, but he hadn't wrestled since the week after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But he'd gone and done a couple of matches in Japan. So maybe doing something like that sort of refreshed him a little bit, and he got the time to heal up some injuries, go back to his homeland, wrestle, and remember how to do Japanese strong style.
Yeah, hit the reset button and hey, look, I mean, he's revamped his character to a darker character, and it so far so good.
I do miss babyface Shinsuke though. Like
Yeah.
he was still cool.
I mean, he's funny as a babyface, but I think he works better as a heel.
Yeah. So, but 3, and I thought it was a fairly solid match. The next match is for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. It was a triple threat between the champion Braun Breaker and the challengers Shaymus and Ludwig Kaiser. And after a lot of action, it was a lot of action, eventually Braun hits a massive spear on Shaymus, gets the pinfall, gets the win. I'm going to go first here. I gave the match 4. And for the longest time, it was actually my match of the night. I thought it was an amazing match. It was a very hard-hitting match. I love watching something simple as Braun Breaker just bouncing off the ropes, because he hits those ropes with such velocity, you can almost see the ring moving. All 3 of them brought something different to the table. It wasn't, 3 big hosses. Like, I always go back to the worst triple threat match was Braun Strowman, Kane, and Brock Lesnar. Braun Strowman kept hitting Brock Lesnar a bit hard, and Brock Lesnar had to tag him and tell him to calm the fuck down. Whereas this one, you had like the small weedy guy in Ludwig Kaiser, Braun Breaker the powerhouse, and Sheamus the technical guy. And they all brought something to the table that complemented each other.
Yeah.
Even in meme fashion, they were bringing memes with Sheamus showing up behind Ludwig Kaiser when he was in the crowd. That was a great moment. Before he did the 10 rings of the Bowery. And they took advantage of the triple threat rules too, and used it to the advantage of the match.
Yes.
Kaiser, are you ready?
Kaiser Ludwig, you are my favorite European DJ.
So, I gave it a 4 out of 5. JB, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, same here. 4 out of 5. Physical as hell. Braun Breaker's awesome. His missile spear is, like, phenomenal. Love watching it. Especially because he's learning it off Goldberg. So, you gotta learn off the best to be the best, and the man's on his way. Ludwig Kaiser still doesn't strike me as a singles guy. I mean, he's big. He's like weedy, but he's tall. But he just doesn't strike fear into me. He's like, I don't know. I know he's meant to be like the crafty heel, like William Regal. William Regal doesn't strike fear into me either, but he was always, a respected heel, like a crafty vet.
Excuse me, he'll knock your lights out, sunshine.
Well, he did intimidate the shit at Goldberg in a 6-minute match, so there's that.
Well, if I can just interrupt for a second. Ludwig Kaiser always reminds me of... Remember in WCW when Alex Wright got a rebadge and he came back as a character named Berlin?
I do not, but okay.
Because he came out like almost a neo-Nazi, not aristocrat, but just an arrogant person. Like he was bald, he had a beard.
Basically like Ludwig.
And he had the Wall as his bodyguard.
Yeah.
And he had a cane and all that stuff. And
It's got to be Kane.
Not that game.
not that cane. I mean, Shay, you remember that character Berlin, right?
Vaguely.
Vaguely.
It was a pretty out there character.
But he kind of reminds me of that version of Alex Wright. You know, where he got away from being the Dust Wonder Kid and the dancing idiot with Disco Inferno, and he had a more serious edge to him that played on his German sensibilities. And Alex Wright, Ludwig Kaiser comes across like that as well.
Yeah, he's just a cunning heel.
Yeah.
Not the biggest, but he's going to take his advantages, like when he beat the shit out of Shaymus with that shillelagh.
Yeah.
Just cracked the shit out of him. His back looked like a mincemeat at the end. And he, dragged the referee out of the ring when Shaymus looked like he had it won, and then took that massive spear from Braun Breaker, and no, it was a good match. It was a good match. He hasn't won me over as a singles competitor yet, but I understand his shtick.
Shay?
As JB said, very physical match, as all of Braun's matches are. His spear is just one of the best in the business. Absolutely perfect. I was going in expecting Shaymus to win. I was hoping he was going to win because he hasn't won the IC title yet. Would have been really nice. Plus, I don't think he has too many years left in him. I think he's probably only got 2 years, maybe 3 years left. So I'd like to see him get that before he goes. Even get another, maybe World Heavyweight title run. That'd be cool. It's been a while since we've seen him in the main event title picture. He's always been the tag team stuff, which is, considering the issues he's had with his neck, isn't too bad. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Ludwig being the kind of, not the chicken shit heel, but the crafty heel. He strikes me as being pretty good with that kind of stuff. He belongs in the IC title picture. Definitely not main event title. But he's quite good at the role that he plays there. Branching out from being a tag team competitor to a singles competitor. Nowhere near as good as when Jay did it, obviously. Being main event Jay and actually being super, super over. But I quite enjoyed it. I'll give it a 3, right in the middle.
All right, okay. The next match was for the World Heavyweight Championship between World Heavyweight Champion Gunther and former member of the Judgment Day and former World Heavyweight Champion Damian Priest. And after a fairly solid match with a bit of biff in it, and interference from Finn Balor from the Judgment Day right at the end there, Gunther hit a powerbomb and then locked in the sleeper. And eventually Priest passed out. And Gunther won by submission. So we'll go, JB. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I liked this match. This was good. I'm starting to understand Damian Priest now. I've said previously on podcasts I don't know what Damian Priest is. But he's starting to solidify himself now as a character, especially with the championship. But yeah, Gunther obviously, again, another physical match, second physical match in a row. A lot of good shots from Gunther there, and Damian Priest definitely held his own. For the most part, 3/4 of that match looked like he was going to win it until the end. But Gunther got that heel victory there thanks to Finn Balor. 3.5 out of 5. Not quite as good as the previous match, but I'm starting to understand Damian Priest now, and Gunther's continuing to be that big Austrian powerhouse that he's been for the longest time.
Shay?
Again, much like the match before it, very physical. I like Damian Priest. He's pretty solid in the ring, and he's getting a lot better outside of the ring, actually developing a personality. The interference didn't need to be there. Just let him go at it. I get why they did it, just to keep the Finn Balor stuff going, but they're going to give him something to do. But I wasn't really a fan of the finish. that really kind of detracted from the rest of the fight, which is actually quite good. That's Damien selling his arm and then selling his other arm, which may have been legitimately hurt. I'm not sure about that. He sold it pretty well. And there was quite a bit of marking on his other shoulder. I give this one a 2.5. The finish ruined it a shit ton for me.
Okay, well, I thought it was a solid match. It was a little bit too slow for me. It was quite slow and methodical, but it was just a little bit too slow. I agree with you, Shay. The Finn Balor ending was a bit like,
it felt last second. Like, it felt like it was put in there right at the end. It's like, oh shit, we got to put Finn Balor in there just because he's got nothing else to do. Quick, chuck it in.
yeah, like they're keeping this feud between him and the Judgment Day going, and it's like, it's done. It's a done feud. It's over.
Yeah, like right at the start, Corey even said, he's dealt with it as much of his ability. Should have been, that was it.
And it just came across as a little bit of a dodge way for him to lose it. I mean, if he'd lost it fair and square, or even if Ludwig Kaiser came out and helped,
That would have made more sense.
that would have made sense. But this Judgment Day feud is just dragging on. End it, or fucking end the Judgment Day. I'm just starting to get a bit over it. But I still gave the match a 3.5. Oddly enough. Don't know how that happened. Some part of me enjoyed it. But, yeah, the ending was a bit of a stickler. So, yeah. Right. Then we get to the main event. Jesus, we are rocketing through this one.
We definitely are.
There wasn't that many matches. They were just long.
The matches were long, but yeah.
So
If you want to watch the action, it's on KO.
Yeah,
until
it's
the end
on
of the
Binge.
month. Until the end of the month.
Binge and Foxtel till the end of the month.
Yeah, so if you want to, if you don't want us just skipping to the end and you want to enjoy the 40 minutes of dancing around and pummeling each other, it's all there on KO Sports under the wrestling category for the next 3 weeks.
So, the main event was the male War Games match between Bloodline Wolfpack, which was Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Jacob Fatu, and Bronson Reed, versus Bloodline Hollywood, which was Roman Reigns, the Usos, Sami Zayn, and CM Punk. And yes, you have not misheard me. I did call it Bloodline Wolfpack versus Bloodline Hollywood. Because frankly, this storyline sort of screams Wolfpack versus Black and White NWO from back in the day.
Certainly does.
And I say that online, and I have people sit there and go, oh, but this one's better.
Is it?
The thing is, I liked the NWO Black and White versus the Wolfpack back in the day. So, I'm not shitting on it, I'm just simply saying that, this is what you've got. So the match started with Tama Tonga and Jey Uso, and then Bronson Reed entered the match, Jimmy Uso entered the match, Jacob Fatu entered, then Sami Zayn, then Tonga Loa, then CM Punk, who defied Roman Reigns' orders and stepped past him to get in the match. Solo Sikoa, finally, the OTC Roman Reigns entered the match. And then carnage ensued. All manner of hell broke loose. But at the end of it, Jey Uso hit a super kick on Solo Sikoa, followed by Jimmy, followed by both the Usos doing it at the same time. Then Sammy hit the haluva kick, then CM Punk hit the GTS, and then finally Roman Reigns hit the spear on Solo Sikoa. Good. They all hit their finisher on poor old Solo Sikoa. And Roman Reigns got the pin, got the win for Hollywood Bloodline. So we'll go with you, Shay. What do you reckon about that match?
Action-packed. Had a whole bunch going for it. At the start, again, was a little slow, but nowhere near as slow as like the female match. But it was a lot cleaner, a lot less botches until 3/4 of the way in, where 2 people got legitimately injured. But even then, Jacob Fatu is an absolute fucking beast and just kept going on 1 foot. Though it'll be interesting to see how badly Bronson Reed's ankle is after that horrible landing from the top of the cage. I thoroughly enjoyed it from start to finish. CM Punk and Reigns' story through the start of it not really trusting each other to the end actually, shaking hands is a good story through the match, which you don't see a lot of anymore. I give this one a 4.5. It was an excellent match.
JB?
Yeah, physical. I mean, very physical. A lot of weapons, a lot of tables, a lot of big Samoans just beating the shit out of each other like a under-19s rugby tournament. Yeah, honestly, I haven't seen that much lumber since Tonga versus New Zealand in the rugby league. It was just carnage.
I thought it looked like Parramatta's Mad Monday.
Parramatta's correctional facility, maybe.
Townsville.
Townsville.
It's just Townsville.
It might be Townsville. Anyway, Cabramatta, Bankstown, take your pick. Really good match. Very physical, good storytelling. CM Punk's and Roman Reigns, will they, won't they, playing out throughout the match, with Roman spearing him accidentally early and Roman helping him up later on after initially not helping Punk up. And then, he hits the GTS and they eventually win. And handshakes at the end, so it's all good there until we find out what the next stage of the story is. My only downside is, Roman's going after the Ula Fala. There's no championship involved. I would have felt like after WrestleMania his priority would have been the championship and Cody Rhodes, but this seems like it's going to be a long 12, 18-month detour from that story. Just makes you wonder how long Cody's going to be champion for. But beyond that, good match, 4.5 out of 5.
Right, well, for me, this was match of the night. This was just phenomenal match. Everyone was on point. I think the standouts for this match were Jacob Fatu and Bronson Reed. I mean, the rest of the guys in the match didn't really need to stand out. And I know the overall story is, Roman trying to get the Ulafala off Solo Sikoa so he can be the tribal chief again. But you've got the subplot of CM Punk and Roman Reigns and the deal that CM Punk made with Paul Heyman about how Paul Heyman now owes CM Punk a favour, which is, it's interesting. I think Roman Reigns will... There's 2 matches that Roman Reigns can go for at WrestleMania. He can win the Elimination Chamber and then go for Cody Rhodes' WWE Championship at WrestleMania. Or for him to get the Ulafala once and for all, Solo's going to hand it over to the final boss, The Rock. And we'll finally get Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania.
That probably makes sense for the moment. I don't know if you rushed the Cody-Roman trilogy match.
That's even if Cody is going to retain the title going to WrestleMania, because he might drop it to the now completely psychotic Kevin Owens.
Maybe.
It could go either way. Because then it could set up Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania for the title.
Could be anything.
Yeah.
Could be anything at this stage. I think Roman Rock's probably the most logical option at this stage.
But here's the thing about the overall story arc thing, is something we never got really with Vince McMahon's booking, is that there's so many options, we don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
And it keeps you on your toes. You're sitting there trying to pick who's going to win the Royal Rumble, who's going to win the Elimination Chamber.
We were picking champions a year in advance.
Yeah.
With Vince's booking.
Yeah.
It's like, shit, it's going to be Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, or Brock Lesnar, and that was it.
Yeah.
One of those three, probably.
Yeah. And now it's up in the air. It could be anyone.
Yeah.
Even with the women's... look, I think it's going to be Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania for the belt. But who it's going to be with Nia Jax is completely up in the air.
Surely she's not holding the belt for that long.
I fucking hope not.
No, I hope not either. I reckon Tiffany Stratton's going to cash in sooner rather than later.
I think Tiffy's going to cash it in on Nia. That's how they get it off her.
But with this match, though, I think this was a star-making performance for Jacob Fatu and Bronson Reed.
Both who got injured.
The problem is, Bronson Reed's ankle probably doesn't agree with that right now.
There was actually 3 injuries in that match.
What was the third?
So Jacob's leg, or Jacob's knee, Bronson Reed's ankle, and Jimmy Uso broke his toe.
Oh, shit.
There you go.
Yeah.
And War Games is not for the faint-hearted.
He broke his toe when he put, I think it was Jacob Fatu through the table.
Ah, yep.
When he did the splash through the table.
Wait,
Yeah.
Jimmy or Jay?
Jimmy.
Jimmy, yeah, from the top. Yeah, so both of the top spots.
Maybe we got to be careful coming off the top rope and the top of the cage in future.
Yeah.
I
You lost 2 guys in one match.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't work for Benoit either, did it?
Well,
It didn't work for Matt Hardy either. He cracked his tailbone.
well, yeah, but probably not as bad as going on a psychotic rampage against your family.
But all points considered, Jacob Fatu, even after he stuffed his knee, kept going.
Yeah, Jacob Fatu won me over in this match.
Yeah.
I'm like, this dude's awesome.
Yep.
Like, he is an
Now I want to see it. Now I see a match between Jacob Fatu and Ron Breaker. It'll just be like, these guys can't be this fast.
But every 2 seconds you'll be hearing, I love you, Solo!
Shut the fuck. Give me that damn mic. You tell Solo we got the fat asses.
Hailing from the Isle of Fat.
Ric Flair, you said you're a limousine riding, jet flying, should have took a taxi cab and got those yellow crooked teeth fixed. Because you're a mean old bastard. That's why people have changed the channel watching Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yes, Scott Steiner said all that in a promo on Nitro.
Why am I not surprised?
And they told him to go and cut a promo on anyone. So he cut a promo on Ric Flair. And then he went backstage and they're like, why did you pick Ric Flair? And he's like, because he's a mean old bastard. He's kept me down my entire career, that bastard. They're like, oh no, we don't have a program with you and Ric Flair. And you just told everyone to change the channel to watch Monday Night Raw with Steve Austin.
Probably the same day they told them to change the channel because Mankind's about to win the championship.
Yeah, no,
And they never won another ratings war ever again.
Yeah.
Fuckheads.
That was the same episode Goldberg got arrested.
Yep.
And then they did the finger poke of doom.
Yep. Well, you killed your top star and you told everyone that the underdog's going to go win the belt on the other channel. And you never won the ratings war ever again. And then 2 years later, you're not even a company anymore.
To his defense, like Kevin Nash said, we had to reform the proper NWO so we could rebuild Goldberg.
Yeah.
He said and there was no point Nash still having the belt.
Yeah.
They needed to put it back on Hogan.
You had to rebuild him as the gladiator of a man.
Bill Goldberg. But it's like, oh, that was such a lazy and shit way to do it.
They'd run out of steam by then.
Yeah. But, yeah, this match had the high injury toll, but man, it was good to watch. It was just this is what you want a War Games match to be.
Yeah,
Yes.
you want it to be.
Not the clunker that the women's one was.
Yeah.
You know? And it was the same, I think it was
Last year's was the same.
Yeah.
Last year's was a clunker. Yeah, this guy did the same bin spot off the top again.
Yeah.
It's like,
Hey, this
God,
one-
you've done it 2 years in a row.
This one had straps.
This one had straps and was painted pretty colours, but it was the same spot.
Actually, I think she did it in a couple of the NXT ones as well.
She did.
So, that gimmick's already dead. Plus the 2 monster women you had in there were hitting like fucking powder puffs the whole match.
Yeah,
I don't know, like I said at the start, I'm not trying to be sexist, but the women's war games just does not work.
Tariq
It
image
just doesn't work.
where he comes in headbutting people with a mask on.
Yeah, like... But,
I mean, it picked up when EO got in there because chair shots actually counted then.
yeah.
And then Raquel Rodriguez was hitting big boots on people with chairs. But there was
Murdering people.
so many people in that match trying to hit Van Damme move type, RVD style moves.
And they're missing, or they're hitting too soft, or...
Yeah,
It
just
looked sloppy.
It looked weak as piss.
It
And you're
did.
sitting there going, the girls from NXT are doing better than this shit.
Are you going to go for the walking leg drop?
Yeah, and I mean, like...
We call it a running leg drop, but no, I was walking, so...
She barely lifted her leg.
She barely got off the ground, but that's to be
That
expected.
too. Like, she's not
At
exactly...
least she didn't hurt anyone
Well,
True.
we hope.
that we know of.
Yeah, we hope.
She nearly broke her own neck.
She's not the running woman. She's the steady stroll bitch.
She ain't the running man.
Yeah, she's not the running man. She's a steady stroll bloke. But this is what you want a War Games match to be.
Yeah, that was way more chaos, and it meant something.
You know, this...
It meant something storyline-wise. It wasn't just 5-on-5 for the hell of it.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
actually telling a story through the match, which is what it's meant to do.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that it wasn't Cody Rhodes in this.
Yeah.
He would have been the natural fit for it. But then throwing the curveball of CM Punk being the guy, the 5th member. Because, I mean, they were teasing Seth Rollins. Which, that would have been cool.
Because him and
Roman Reigns with a shield.
but him...
Yeah, but Roman hasn't really buried the hatchet with Seth either.
And that's why he didn't join in the end. But it was him and Bronson had a feud going on, and that's why that would have been a perfect fit too. But I like the fact that he used the fact that he still doesn't trust Roman, and he doesn't want to put him back into power, which is why Seth declined that.
Yeah. Whereas CM Punk did it because they hurt Paul Heyman.
Yeah. And he did it for him, not for Roman, and he said that.
Yeah.
Which makes way more sense than having Seth there.
So I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I
Yeah.
thought it was quite a good match. So how many? As I'm writing this bit down because I forgot to write it down. How many cheese graters are we giving this show out of 5?
I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Yep.
Besides the women's match, the rest of the card was pretty solid.
Yeah.
I mean, even the women's match was passable. But yeah, the 2 title matches and the men's war game matches were definitely possible.
Shay?
Yeah, I agree with Johnny. 3.5. That was the men's match was far and away the best match of the night. The women's match did let it down quite a bit thanks to the start of it. But again, as Johnny also said, it is passable. It was pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3.5 as well. I think the best 2 matches were the triple threat and the men's War Games matches, and the 2 matches that were the big letdowns were the women's War Games match and the World Heavyweight title match. That was a bit of a letdown.
Yeah,
The match itself was good until the end there, but yeah.
Yeah,
and
finish.
then LA Knight and Shinsuke was sort of the one in the middle.
Yeah.
You know. But overall, it was a solid pay-per-view, and the main event and the triple threat, like, they are phenomenal matches that people need to watch. If you don't want to watch the entire thing, that's entirely up to you. Watch those 2 matches, though.
Yeah.
So we're just going to cover a little bit of news stuff before we bugger off. So apparently, Pentagon Jr.'s contract with AEW is up. And apparently he is WWE bound.
That doesn't surprise me, and that is very good for WWE because he's a excellent performer.
But Ray Fenix is stuck in AEW because they tacked on injury time.
Yeah, he'll be WWE bound as soon as he's finished. 100%.
And that's why Tony Khan tacked on the injury time, because
he
they
knows.
were bragging about how they're going to WWE, and he went, well, hold on the horses, kids. You're not going quite yet.
The Super Lucha Brothers. But him and Rey Mysterio? Give me that shit.
Yeah.
Him and Dom. Even Dom.
Oh, Pentagon Jr. and Dragon Lee.
Fucking
Money.
El Idolo. Fucking what's his name? Fucking Charlotte's husband.
Andrade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Pentagon Jr. versus Axion.
Ooh, yes.
NXT. You know, that's going to be fire. Also, apparently, Miro's contract with AEW is up, and he is WWE bound because he's trying to get away from his soon-to-be ex-wife.
Yeah.
Is he coming back as Rusev?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Rusev Day comes back. That's something.
He was fucking mid when he left. He's going to be fucking mid when he comes back.
Hey, you can do with more
Maybe he can
mid-cutters.
just be mid with fucking Shaymus again.
Yeah.
Okay, you look good with the US strap, I guess. At best.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot better than what he's been doing in AEW.
He's been a
Yeah, which is
fuckle in
fucking
it.
nothing.
Yeah.
I haven't seen no heart of him in months.
The Redeemer gimmick was cool when he first did it, and then he just dropped off the face of the fucking planet.
Yeah. And it's the same with, Ricky Starks. Like, he's not being used in AEW at all.
That's the problem, is they got too many Chiefs and not enough Indians. That's the issue, is they got too many big names that want the top spot, don't get the top spot, and just sit there in catering because they can't get it.
Yeah, I mean, Ricky Starks has not been on AEW TV since April. And then he was booked to be in a few GCW shows, and they pulled him at the last minute.
I mean, if they want to go to a 3-hour show, sure, do it. They got enough superstars to do it with. But 2 hours just doesn't work with the roster that they've got of that size.
Same as, who else? Apparently, Malachi Black is finished with AEW as well.
That I'm surprised about, because House of Black was actually pretty popular.
Yeah, but when you've got an opportunity to go back to WWE because you've got someone else in charge that actually believed in you when you were in NXT.
I liked Aleister Black when he was in WWE.
I like
He
him in
needed to
both.
come back.
He's good in both. He was great in AEW as well.
And I think Buddy Murphy will come back
I
as
hope-
Buddy Matthews.
I hope he does, and then he can be with Rhea.
Yeah. And apparently there's a few TNA people whose contracts are up at the start of next year that WWE are very interested in. Names such as Jordan Grace,
Yep, not surprised at that.
Joe Hendry.
That I can nearly guarantee you Triple H will be like, here's a contract for however much money you want, come.
Steve Macklin.
Hmm.
That guy is brutal. Like, he is awesome. Old Steve Macklin. So there's a few names there that can make the jump. And I think that might be a good place for Baron Corbin to go. Seeing him, Indy Hartwell, and Tegan Knox got released. And I felt really bad for Indy Hartwell. Like, she got released, and then she still had to wrestle on SmackDown knowing she'd been given the boot.
Yeah, that's kind of a shitty move to drop that news before they finish.
But, Tegan Knox, I understand Tegan Knox being released. Like, they weren't doing much with her, and she was injury prone.
Does a knee every second fucking show.
And Indy Hartwell was nothing special in the ring. You know,
Other than the Dexter Loomis shit that she did, that was pretty much it.
Yeah. Baron Corbin's character had been rebooted and rehashed so many times, I don't think he knew who the fuck he was.
Sad Corbin was pretty popular. That went over pretty well, and then he was Happy Corbin, and then no one cared.
Yeah, but I think his best character was the Lone Wolf character, where he had that awesome entrance music.
Me too.
In
That was his
NXT.
best. That was him at his best.
And did you know that entrance music was the last bit of entrance music that Jim Johnson recorded before he got the boot.
Yeah.
I still can't believe that they let Jim Johnston go.
I can't believe it either.
I can't believe he's not back.
Yeah.
Well, he's 70 years old or something.
He
Like,
can still make music.
Yeah.
I can't believe Triple H didn't go slide him in contract to be like, here, you made, you helped make some of the best music in the company. Can you come back?
Yeah.
Probably doesn't want to.
Yeah, it might be a personal thing.
But, yeah, like Baron Corbin going to TNA would be a really great way to rehash the character. Especially, like, TNA is filling up with ex-WWE guys again. They've got Nick Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler.
JBL.
JBL just showed up, but he's just called John Layfield.
Hmm.
There's no Bradshaw in it. They got the B out. The Hardys have signed with TNA. And now Matt Riddle has signed with TNA.
I don't know if he's signed. Because it didn't say that he's with TNA yet. So
Yeah.
I think it might have been a one-off because he was replacing someone that was injured, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
So it said that he's his debut, but they didn't say that he's signed with them yet. So I don't know if that's full yet.
Okay.
I mean, given his track record, that don't blame them.
Yeah, he's a sketchy person. Well, when he's funny and he's got a lot of personality and everything, but his backstage antics are a bit hit and miss. Particularly if your name is Bill Goldberg.
Bill Goldberg.
But, yeah, so there's that. And then there's the McMahon documentary on Netflix. Wow, what a watch that was. Like, yeah. He really is a scumbag. And it was actually announced a couple of weeks ago that him and Linda have indeed separated.
Not surprised.
You know.
Anyone wants to get the fuck away from that being in the Trump administration?
Right. So that's the news for this episode. And that was the Survivor Series for 2024. Now, most likely we'll be back for the Royal Rumble, which is in February. But if we're feeling up for it, somewhere around Christmas, if we can get the whole clan together, it'd be nice to do a retro pay-per-view again.
Yeah.
So we'll work on that. We'll see if we can get that to happen. No promises. Don't promise anything. But if not, we will see you at the Royal Rumble. But thank you for tuning in to your mum's 316th favourite wrestling podcast, Stop the Damn Match. On behalf of JB and Shay and myself, it is goodbye.